friends, this is FirearmPop, and I have another today in my series of armed citizen stories. And this set is coming out of a magazine called The Bullet, which is the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association's magazine. And it just has a series of armed citizen stories kind of local to New York State. So without further ado, let me get going on these. Excuse me. One man was fatally shot and another wounded when the gunfire erupted in a Harlem apartment building yesterday. Police are investigating the possibility that the shooter was a robbery victim who wrestled a firearm from one of his attackers, then fired in self-defense. A 36-year-old man who lives in the 19th floor of the Taino Towers at 2383 2nd Avenue told cops he was walking down the hallway at around 12:30 p.m. when two men in their 20s pulled a gun on him. He said he was able to grab the weapon and pull the trigger. The injured man, whose name was withheld, was in stable condition. Jaqueen Wilson, 18, who was shot in the back, died. New York Post, that was October 28th, 2011. This next story is really interesting. He almost slept with the fishes too. A burglar who broke into the former Staten Island mansion of murder mob boss Big Paul Castellano narrowly avoided being shot dead himself earlier today after the homeowner fired off several warning rounds as the bandit fled. The Post has learned the thief slipped into the sprawling, white, columned home at 177 Benedict Avenue on Tony Todd Hill at around 3:35 a.m. by removing a sliding glass door on a rear veranda, law enforcement sources said. He crept up to the third floor master bedroom and started rummaging through a walk-in closet and removing luxury watches, creating a ruckus that awakened homeowner Salim Rusi. The sources continued. Rusi, 55, went to check on the commotion and was shocked to discover a black-clad burglar in his residence, sources said. Also home at the time were Rusi's wife, son, and daughter-in-law. The busted bandit sprinted off as Rusi ran to fetch his registered Smith & Wesson handgun, sources added. By the time Rusi ran outside, the suspect had dashed into the nearby woods. To make sure the culprit didn't return, Rusi squeezed off at least 3 bullets into the air, sources said. Investigators are currently poring over the home and surveillance video in an effort to identify the suspect. Rusi will face no charges for firing his gun, sources said. Rusi purchased a home valued at $2.25 million in 1999, records show. Castellano, the former head of the Gambinos, lived in the home until he was gunned down on December 16, 1985, outside the Spark Steakhouse in Midtown Manhattan. The rub-out was executed by 4 assassins working for John, the Teflon Don Gotti, who then took control of the crime family. In 2002, Gotti died in federal lockup from throat cancer. New York Post, November 8th, 2011. Now, I got to really comment on this story. There are so many things wrong with this, okay? And it all starts with everything's going fine until this guy, Rusi, fires 3 shots in the air. No way. In New York City, and the police are not charging him for it? Anyway, don't get me going. But that goes back to New York City politics, where if you have money and you're living in a $2.25 million home, they're not going to press charges. And that's the only way you got a legally owned handgun in New York City, is to have that kind of money. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong that this guy got away with that. He should have never fired up in the air. Yes, I'd be aggravated too. I caught somebody rummaging through my home. But you don't fire 3 warning shots. You can't ID your target, and what's beyond it, you don't fire. It's that simple. That's a simple rule. You have to have your your sights on your target and know what's behind your target, so you're not doing some damage to innocent civilians. Anyway, I'm going to get off my rant. It's just interesting that the investigators are currently poring over the home and surveillance video in an effort to identify the suspect, not to see if the guy was justified in firing 3 rounds in the air. Anyway, a Johnson City homeowner allegedly shot an intruder this weekend after the man tried to break down his front door. It happened at about 4:30 Sunday morning on Virginia Avenue in the Village. Johnson City police say the burglar did manage to get inside, and that's when the owner shot him. Police say the intruder was hit in the arm and is expected to recover. Names are not being released at this time. No charges have yet been filed. Police say the investigation is continuing, and that was in Binghamton on November 21st, 2011. Well, there you have it, friends. Another, just a few, 3 of them. One that really gets my blood boiling. That's why I wanted to bring it to you. Hope you enjoyed another series of armed citizen stories. This is FirearmPop. Be safe out there, and God bless. Bye now.